Alright, time to talk about the guy who plans everything, Sosuke Aizen. Aizen is a villain that, just like Dio, is sometimes downplayed or often misunderstood. Not as much though, as people recognize him as a good antagonist most of the time, but most people just label him as someone who's only about planning things, overpowered, looking cool, and that's it, which is obviously wrong and makes me just laugh at their statements on him. It always seems like they had never even watched or read Bleach, but just look up a few of those Aizen fights on YouTube and just got his character from there. The things that I see are really insane because they're completely ignorant and it shows a lot. But anyway, defending him isn't the point of today's video, but analyzing him and just taking a look at parts of him that are not just him looking cool and bullying everyone around him. I'ma try and look into the true character of Aizen. Okay, so Aizen is someone who puts up a majorly large wall around himself while setting that said wall up with spikes so no one would ever have the chance to get near him. He's someone who sets the boundaries for himself as he could never be like the people outside of his wall. He was too strong, too smart, and too different, so he makes his own space around himself, a space where no one would ever get the chance to make it to. Some people will like him though, he isn't entirely unique, but those people I'm referring to were able to get over their wall. Aizen was trapped. He's someone who keeps bringing himself down, whereas deep inside of him, he doesn't really want this to happen to himself. Him being different has been said by a lot of people in the Bleach world. He's regarded as a genius. He's also been really smart since he was young, but he had never shown everyone his true potential, just bits of it. Ever since he was young, he had been a determined individual. He was looking for ways to better himself and strive for more knowledge of the world. He's someone who's filled with curiosity and ambition. He eventually acquired a load of knowledge on Soul Society and basically learned about how much of a scam the Soul King is. Someone who isn't even controlling the Soul Society but split into different families. Aizen found out there wasn't anything like a king above everyone, especially him. No one has ever stood on top of the heavens before, not even the gods. With the throne being empty and endless possibilities remaining, Aizen takes the role of striving to be on top. He alone will do so, not with Gin or Tozen, just him. He alone would do that just like how he's done everything alone before. Aizen is a lonely person. He's always been a loner. Just like I said before, Aizen is different from everyone else because of his skills and potential. He also kind of is antisocial if you want to add that. He has troubles connecting to people. He only manages to focus on himself all the time. He doesn't give a thought of anyone else or care about anyone else. He walks his own lonely path. This is where I think Aizen develops his god complex. With him being stronger than the average Soul Reaper due to his Ryatsu in mind, he begins to believe that he's way more powerful than everyone else. He sees no equal except, well, someone whose mind exceeds his own, Urahara. But Aizen doesn't really think too highly of Urahara, as Urahara doesn't put all of his knowledge and potential to work. Aizen definitely sees how Urahara is a dangerous person, but he despises him for not using his abilities to overthrow the Soul King, the fake ruler of Soul Society. He sees him as someone who just sits in the background rather than taking a stance, which Aizen definitely hates because he's a very ambitious person. Aizen wants to show everyone how powerful he is, to show that he should be someone who is looked upon as a god rather than the fraud the Soul King is. His hatred, curiosity, and ambition push him to end this fake Soul Society he sees in his eyes and create something more free. Now, Aizen has a few ideals and goals that need to be taken a look at. An important goal that needs to be known is that Aizen wanted to destroy the whole concept the Soul Society has built itself upon. He wants to create a Soul Society that suits him. Someone above and controlling Aizen is a major no-go for him and wants to eliminate the concept of a being governing over everyone in the world. With him having a god complex, he finds the idea of someone being superior to him disgusting and just unacceptable because they don't plan to better themselves but just sit with their power doing nothing but look down on everyone, which is what Aizen had seen in the Council 46, the people he killed around the Soul Society arc. He himself only wanted to be seen at the top, as his hatred for his superiors like the Soul King grew way more as time went on. Aizen's ideals of fixing the false kings of Soul Society can be seen as something that isn't truly evil, but his actions leading up to that goal truly were, because what is this? He also only cares about himself, so anyone affected by his path wouldn't really get off too nicely. Another of his big goals, or you could say wish, is finding an equal, someone who could truly stand against him, someone who can be matched up against him and live, and also someone who could, well, understand him. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is where Ichigo Kurosaki comes into play. Alright, you know how there were a lot of incidents where Aizen let off Ichigo instead of killing him then and there? Well, Aizen believed in Ichigo's potential. He could see that Ichigo has the ability to rise and overthrow even himself. Aizen sort of wanted this. Well, deep inside him, he did. Like I said around the start of the video, Aizen is a lonely guy who found it hard to connect with other people. Well, deep inside his heart, he wanted to be just a regular Soul Reaper. At the end of his final fight against Ichigo, the Hogyoku starts to peel off him. It leaves his body, removing him of the ability to fight back against Ichigo anymore. Eventually, Ichigo brings up that his dad had told him that Hogyoku could read the hearts of those around it and make their wishes come true. Well, reading Aizen's heart deep down, it found that Aizen wanted his abilities gone, thrown away. Well, this was after Aizen was getting absolutely bullied by Ichigo's Mugetsu form. So now with Aizen's goal of becoming a literal god being unattainable due to Ichigo being way stronger than him at the moment, I think Aizen deep down reached for the wish that he has deep in his heart to come true at that point, which was just being a regular Soul Reaper. In the fight as well, Ichigo found that Aizen was locked in loneliness after touching swords with him. Aizen wished to be with people, but he couldn't due to his exceptional abilities, so he strove to find an equal, but after some time he gave up, and gave into himself with the whole god complex thing, but eventually built Ichigo up to become his equal, as he had seen himself similar to him. Ichigo is someone who dislikes higher powers controlling other people's lives, someone who strives to better himself by becoming stronger any chance he gets, has a big load of potential, and also prefers getting things done by himself rather than with other people. He shares these traits with Aizen, which Aizen definitely saw and was interested in. Aizen kept Ichigo alive so he could see him at his maximum potential, but what he didn't know was that Ichigo would far exceed him. This would cause Aizen to go through an emotional breakdown, as Ichigo being way more powerful than him hurt his ego a lot, which is where we get the iconic Aizen quote of how winners don't ask how the world is, but how it should be, showing his egotistical side, which is a huge shield put up that hides his insecurities. Deep inside of him, he truly isn't like that. Ichigo is someone who continuously tries to understand people around him, meets the person who is understood by none, and eventually understands said person. Amazing dynamic in my opinion, and it's really well crafted in giving us the similarities and differences between our protagonist and antagonist. Ichigo, the same as Aizen, was different from other people. He could see ghosts while others couldn't, though he didn't give in to his difference and tried to make connections with others even with it. Aizen though gave in to his difference and loneliness flooded his entire being. He created this god image of himself to stray away from how isolated he was. The fear of him being forever alone though only resulted in him striving to better himself and becoming something more, something that would strive to be on top of everyone, even if he was alone. His character arc is really compelling once you know this information, and you could really feel for Aizen even though he's pretty much a villain and always does things for himself. Now after being beaten by Ichigo, we see how Aizen has drastically changed from whoever he was before. Right now he has no sort of motivation to escape from the Muken, but as we see his speech of death at the end of Bleach, we know that he has grown to understand things a lot more. Aizen believes that people should live their life to the fullest, and even when put through tough situations, they should struggle and work through their difficulties, finding that courage within them, that courage that helps them better themselves. Aizen is someone who transcends and keeps pushing on, a god among others, though a lonely one.